All right, here is Raising Meat Birds 101. This video is going to be everything you need to know from choosing what birds you want to raise, ordering them, and getting them through the first few weeks of life. In a few weeks, I'll release part 2 of raising the birds from week 3 all the way through the processing date. And then I'm planning on releasing a part 3 video of processing day. So the first thing you want to do is to choose the type of chicken you want to raise for meat. There are 2 common commercial and homegrown chickens. They are Cornish cross, which is what we raise, and big red broilers. Then there's another category called heritage breeds, and I'll go through all of those. So Cornish cross and big red broilers are bred for meat production. They are bred to go fast and produce the most meat for the time and feed you put into them. Even though they are bred for meat production, they're still non-GMO and all that good stuff as long as you raise them right. Heritage breeds are more of a mix between egg-laying birds and meat birds. If you want your meat birds to be more self-producing, like hens laying their own eggs, raising their chicks, and then you butcher the chickens as they are more full-grown, I would choose a heritage breed. The issue with heritage chickens is that you're gonna raise them a lot longer than the other types of meat birds, typically about 6 months, and they will be a lot smaller in size. But again, if you want a more self-sustaining flock and to have some eggs to eat along the way, then heritage is the type of breed that you want to choose. But if you want to choose between the Cornish cross and the big red broilers, here are some facts for you. Cornish cross are the breed that you most likely eat in grocery stores, and everyone pretty much eats them. They are super fast growing, and you butcher them around 7 to 10 weeks of age. We butcher ours at 8 weeks of age, and we found that that's the sweet spot. They typically reach 9 to 12 pounds in weight, and then they have about 5 to 10 pounds of that is meat. So that is such a much higher percentage of their body weight in meat than other birds. They also have a pretty good disposition, and they're pretty calm. But if you do raise Cornish cross, you must keep them in some kind of chicken tractor or cage because they are so slow and they can't really escape predators. So they're not great just being completely free range. If you do want a super simple chicken tractor build, check out my video in the description. I did a really easy chicken tractor that we use. But not only are they slow to escape predators, they also grow so fast that they can have some health problems. Sometimes they grow so fast that their legs cannot support them, or they can have lung issues or organ issues. When I talk about feeding them, I will share how we avoid some of these health issues, but just something to keep in mind. Lastly, although these birds are in a chicken tractor and they're able to forage through the grass, they're not really the best at foraging. And so they will require more feed than other breeds. I do have a trick on how I cut down some of my feed costs, and I'll also share that with you guys. On the other hand, for big red broilers, they are a great alternative to Cornish cross. They're much better foragers, so require a lot less feed, but they reach their maturity weight at 12 weeks. So you have to keep them about 4 weeks longer than you do the Cornish cross. For me, caring for a whole nother set of animals for 2 months is already an added strain. So doing this for an extra month just doesn't sound great to me. And they are bigger than the heritage breeds, the big broilers are, but they do weigh less and they have less meat than the Cornish cross. Their mature weight is 7 to 10 pounds, and then you get about 3 to 8 pounds of meat off of each bird, depending on the gender. So, like I said, heritage breeds are much smaller. They typically weigh 5 to 8 pounds, and then about 40% of that weight is meat. So you get a lot less meat per weight. But you can reproduce them, eat their eggs, and they're great foragers, so a lot less feed cost. For our family, we choose to raise the Cornish cross, even though they take a little more feed. The advantages of the size of the bird and only raising them for 8 weeks outweighs the cons. One thing I would be cautious about raising these birds is extreme weather. Because they are bred to grow so fast, they can easily overheat and die. On the other hand, it can take them a while to fully feather out. So if it's super cold out, you have to keep them in the brooder for a lot longer, which is just way more work for you. So I like to raise my meat birds in the spring and in the fall. So this round that I'm doing now, I started at the end of August when the temps were like high of 95, low of 65, and they will go outside at 2 weeks old, where the temps are high of 90 to 92 and lows 65 to 60. Again, I am about getting the biggest bang for my buck, and that absolutely includes my time. So Cornish cross seems to work best for us because there's a shorter amount of time that we need to spend raising them, and we get the most meat out of them. This go around, we got 40 birds, and the cost was just under $100. I ordered my birds from the chick hatchery, which I love, and they typically have free shipping days. So to cut down on costs, I would order on a free shipping day, and I would make sure you order a few weeks in advance from when you want to start your chickens, because the hatch days tend to fill up. And then when you order them, the week that you order them, I would make sure that you're available to pick them up from the post office. So typically when the chicks are hatched, they'll eat everything around them in their shell. And this will keep them full for about 48 hours or so. So when they arrive to the post office, your chicks will be pretty thirsty and hungry. So picking them up quickly is pretty important. And when your chicks first get home, you really want to make sure they all drink water. And sometimes you might have a bird that is having trouble finding the water, and you need to make sure to dip their beak in the water to kind of help them find that when they first arrive. All right, don't mind all the junk in the background. This is my catch-all place for all of our ranch farm stuff. But I wanted to give you guys a look on these little chicks. So these guys are almost 2 weeks. They are, let me think, they will be 2 weeks in 4 days. So they're like a week and a half old. They're starting to grow some of their full feathers, as you can see on their wings. And they've been in this container since they got here about a week and a half ago. And I will likely move them out right when they're at 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. They're outgrowing this. I don't really want to move them in another space in our garage. It's pretty warm here, and so I think they'll be fine going ahead and moving to their tractor. But I wanted to show you my routine that I do with them every single day. So every day, they're little dinosaurs, I call them. They come remove their water and their food. Hey guys, and this little block here, I set their water on. Ah, they pecked me a little. Guys, stop. I don't love being pecked. That's why I call them dinosaurs. And then I just throw some new shavings on the bottom of this. I change this cage out about once a week, but you can just throw a good layer of new shavings, and that will kind of help them not be in all their poop and everything like that. Okay, they're pecking me, they want food. Okay guys, watch out. Hey, I'm just trying to clean your cage up a little. Grab these guys some fresh water, and I put their water up on this board. Just kind of helps them not to get it so dirty. And then I got them some fresh food, these little dinosaurs. And I redo their bedding every day by adding a new fresh layer of shavings. And then this water thing, when they're the first few days old, like the first 4 or 5 days, this water thing will pretty much last them all day, that tiny water thing. They don't drink so much when they're younger. But now they're getting pretty big and they're starting to drink a lot. As you can see, they're pretty thirsty. And so I've been refilling this thing about 3 times a day. And that's just kind of time consuming and annoying. And there's not really room in this cage to put 2 or 3 of them in there. So I've just been refilling it pretty frequently. But that's also why I know they're about ready to go outside and get a bigger water thing and a bigger food thing. The food thing I've also been filling up about 2 times a day because it's pretty small. When they're younger, really 1 thing of food will last them the whole day, but now not so much. And so it is time to get them outside. They're bigger water, they're bigger food. The only thing is you want to be careful moving them outside when they're not fully feathered out because they can't control their body temperature so well. But again, it's the temperatures in Texas have been pretty mild right now. We've been a high of 90 during the day and a low of 67, 68 at night. And so I haven't even had their heat lamp on. I put their heat lamp on for the first day, 2 days that they were here, when they were about 2 days old, because they need to be kept at about 95 degrees. Then you kind of, the rule of thumb, you kind of lower it 5 degrees per week or per every 5 days or so. Their temperature kind of lower it 5 degrees per week until they're feathered out and they can handle the extreme temperatures in either direction, cold. They don't do so well in the heat, but in the cold. But again, the temperatures have been mild, so I haven't had this on at all. And I've wanted them to get slightly chilly at night because it helps feather them out quicker. If you're keeping them warm all the time, their body's not going to feather out as quick. So I haven't had this on, in over a week. They've been doing fine, and so I really think they're ready to move outside. The temperatures next week outside are going to be a low of 60 and a high of 85. Again, I think they will be completely fine with that, and by week 3, they should be fairly feathered out. So I'm going to go ahead and stick them out there in a few days when they're 2 weeks old, and we will go from there. But yeah, as far as care, again, I've been changing their water out 2 or 3 times a day, and their food out as well 2 or 3 times a day. It's a lot easier when they're smaller. You don't need to drink as much. And then I take away their food at night. So Cornish cross hens will eat a lot until, sometimes they will overeat. They're bred to grow really fast, and sometimes they'll overeat. So I take away their food at night so that they do not do that and just kind of give their body a rest from eating. And then during the day, they have unlimited amounts to eat. And right now I'm feeding them chick starter, medicated chick starter. The medicated just gives them some prebiotics, probiotics, and helps fight the chances of coccidia in the chickens. When they're in a close proximity with all their poop and all that, I just find that's helpful. So that's what they're eating. And then at 3 weeks, or really when this bag of feed runs out, I will switch them to meat bird grower feed with a pretty high protein amount for them. So that's the first few weeks of their life. They're in here. If your temperatures are cold, definitely get your heat lamp on. Keep them at 95 that first week, 85 degrees that second week. But again, like I said, they've easily gotten down to 70, 75, and they've been great. They've been fine. And they've been starting to feather out on their thing. But yeah, I call them my little dinosaurs. So here they are, and follow along to keep up with my little dinosaurs. Bye, guys.
All right, I am transferring these birds outside right at the age of 2 weeks. As I mentioned, I've been feeding these chicks a medicated chick starter feed, and as this bag of chick starter gets finished, I will switch them to a non-medicated meat bird grower.
I will feed them this feed up until the day that they are processed. So for the next 6 weeks. I'll feed these guys each morning, and that food should last for most of the day. I don't give unlimited food for 2 reasons. The first is cost. There's only so much feed I want to go through and pay for. The second reason are those health problems I mentioned earlier. Cornish crosses grow so fast that they overgrow their legs and their lungs. And so by not letting them eat, and trust me, they will eat and eat and eat, you ensure the health of your birds. Most people leave unlimited food for the chickens during the day, and then they remove the feed at night so the chickens have a break from eating. But whatever you do, just make sure you remove the food for a large chunk of the evening or the day every day. These chickens will literally eat until they kill themselves. Now that they're outside, I will move this chicken tractor every day so they have fresh grass and bugs to forage on. I'll also refill their food and water daily. They will live out here for the next 6 weeks until processing day. And if you want to see my last round of meat birds and a video on when my birds were a little older, check out the video in the description. Or if you want to see our last processing day video, I will also have that video in the description as well. As always, please subscribe to stay updated on all of my content, but specifically this round of birds, as I'm planning on doing another video showing how these guys grow and develop from this 2 weeks of age all the way through processing day. And then I'm also planning on creating an updated processing video. So make sure to just subscribe to catch that. Also, I would love a like or comment and let me know what you think of this video. I also love to hear what type of birds you're choosing to raise, why, and your thoughts on this. So feel free to let me know. My last little tidbit here is that I spread the food on the ground for the first few days that these chicks are outside, and that just helps let the chicks start to learn how to forage for food. After the first few days, I'll go ahead and put their food in a container so that I'm not wasting or losing any food in the grass. But the first few days, it really helps the chickens start to learn how to forage for food and how to catch bugs and eat grass and get some dirt and all that great stuff. So that's just another tip that I like to use. Thanks, guys.